Everyone, I'm Guy Wozniak, and you're watching the Comic Book Guy channel. Now, today I'm going to share some straightforward and practical tips for anyone just getting into comic book collecting. And yeah, I did a video recently about my top 7 collecting tips, and while I think that's all good advice, I'm not sure if that video was the most beginner-friendly, so I wanted to revisit and expand on some of that. Now, if you're new to the hobby, you might feel a little bit overwhelmed by things like prices, grading, key issues, figuring out where to even start, all of it. And yeah, these suggestions should help you avoid some of the most common early mistakes and set yourself up for a collection that you'll be proud of. So let's get right into it. This is my first tip, and it is to start with a clear collecting goal. There are a lot of ways to collect comics. You can collect certain characters or a creative team, or another fun way is by story arc or by focusing strictly on key issues. That's awesome too. But here's the thing. One of the biggest mistakes that I've made in buying comics is that I buy anything that looks even remotely interesting without any plan behind it. Now, this usually happens because whatever I'm buying at the time just happens to fall within a budget that I was comfortable with at the time, which means that I wound up with a large collection over time. And yeah, there was a lot of cool books in it, but not the ones that I really, really wanted, just a bunch of books that I kind of wanted. Now, when you define your goal early, you save money, you stay focused, and you avoid a collection that feels random or a collection without direction. So yeah, knowing your goal also helps you spot the difference between a book that you really want and a book that you're only buying because it's kind of like in front of you right now. My second tip is to learn the basics of comic book grading. Condition is one of the biggest factors that affects a comic book's value. Grades range from poor all the way up to near mint and mint. And even small differences in grade can change the price dramatically. So it's important that you know what you're actually looking at. Now, you'll also hear the term raw and slabbed. Raw comic books are books that aren't graded. They're just loose, floppy issues, maybe in a bag and board, and you can take them out. Slabbed comics are professionally graded, and they're sealed in a hard plastic case. So yeah, that's the difference between raw and slabbed. Now, understanding grading helps you avoid overpaying, and it helps you recognize when a comic is worth picking up in the first place. It's impossible to estimate the value of a book if you can't first determine the condition. And while a complete tutorial on how to grade comics is probably well beyond the scope of this video, my channel co-host Matt and myself have talked about doing a video on the nuance of grading and condition. So subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for that video in the not so distant future. That said, I can get you started with this little nugget of info and suggestion. CGC and similar grading companies put a number grade on the label of their slabbed books. That number grade corresponds directly to the old school comic book condition nomenclature. So for example, a comic book that is in CGC grade 9.4 is the exact same thing as saying near mint, and a 9.6 grade means near mint plus. A book that's in 8.0 grade is the same as saying very fine, and a book that's in 4.0 grade is the same as saying very good. This works all the way down and up the CG scale from 0.5 to 10. So do a quick Google search for a comic book grading scale and familiarize yourself with the numbers and the equivalent condition terms. I think that's a good place to get started. Now, my third tip is to prioritize key issues early, and I said as much in my previous video, but I did get some complaints from you guys about this tip, suggesting that key issues are often too expensive. And yeah, I get it, and I agree. I mean, I'm never going to own a copy of Amazing Spider-Man #1. Duh, right? Like, no kidding. So I thought that this was obvious, but apparently it wasn't, so I should probably clear it up here. And yes, of course, focus on key issues first. That's my suggestion when it's within the scope of what you can afford. Again, I can't afford Amazing Spider-Man #1, but I can afford number 300. So I got that key issue first when I started collecting again this past year. See, my goal was to get every Amazing Spider-Man from Todd McFarlane's run, so issues 298 through 328. And the first ones that I got were the most expensive key issues, which are 298, 99, 300, and 316. Once I got those squared away, I worked on the more affordable books in that run as they came up. So yeah, of course, I thought it went without saying, but focus on the key issues first. The key issues that you can actually afford that fall within your comic collecting goals and plan as well. In my case, getting Amazing Spider-Man #1 was never a part of the plan because I can't afford it. That said, you can start buying all the cheap filler issues first, but what's going to happen is you're going to eventually get stuck buying those expensive ones later anyway, and they've probably gone up in price and they're more expensive when you finally get to them. So I say don't dilly-dally, get those ones done as fast as possible. Now, my fourth tip is to always research market prices before you buy anything. And this can be tricky if you don't know how to evaluate condition yet, but do your best. And the #1 rule for comic book prices is that the sticker price does not always mean that's what the book is worth. People can and they will list their books for all sorts of crazy prices. Be aware of that. And before you buy, at a minimum, check eBay sold listings or look at mycomicshop.com. But in my opinion, the best option is to use paid tools, sites like GoCollect or gpanalysis.com. They're great for tracking values. And no, this isn't a sponsorship. I just like those sites. Another one you can use is 130point.com, although I'm a little bit less familiar with that one. And eBay has some tools built into their Sellers Hub area, but again, I just stick with GP Analysis for my price research. I think it works great. Now, you also want to see what the comic book has actually sold for recently, not what someone is hoping to sell it for. So don't look at those listing prices. This is one habit that will save you a ton of money, and it will help you make more informed buying decisions. The last thing that you want is, and I'm guilty of this as well, is clicking the Buy It Now button without checking price first, and then finding out later you accidentally overpaid for the book. Guilty. Again, I'm guilty. Now, my fifth and final tip is simple, but it's extremely important. Take care of your comics properly. Always store your books in bags and boards or Mylar sleeves. That's what I prefer. Keep them upright in comic book boxes as well. As far as bags and boards go, I love E. Gerber's My Light 2 Mylar bags and their half-back boards. Now, they are pretty pricey, pricey as hell as a matter of fact, but in my opinion, they are the best option. And again, this isn't sponsored as well, it's just what I use. Also, I'm going to say keep your collection away from heat and humidity and direct sunlight. I've seen way too many pictures of people's collections that got way out of hand and they had too many books, and it was so large that they had to start stacking boxes of comics to the ceilings in their garage. And I don't care where you live, that is not going to be good for those books long term. Proper storage protects your investment and it keeps your collections looking great for years to come. So, in my opinion, don't cheap out on this one. Get the good stuff. Also, while this isn't directly related to storage, I think it's related to organization, and I think it's important. I recommend cataloging all of your books in a collection tracking app. The one I use is League of Comic Book Geeks. That app is great and it's totally free. I've also heard good things about CLZ Comics app. I think that's what it's called. But I think you got to subscribe to that, so I've never tried it out. But having all of your books cataloged on your phone makes remembering what you have and what you need super easy, so that the next time when you're at a comic book store or at a convention, it's all right there for you. So yeah, that's a bonus tip, I guess. Catalog your comics in an app. Now, I guess that's going to do it. Those are my 5 straightforward tips to help you start your comic collecting journey the right way. If you found this helpful, do me a favor. First of all, feel free to leave a comment down below with any questions or share your comic collecting tips for beginners. And also, please hit that like and subscribe button as well. I could really use the support. But yeah, thanks again for tuning in and watching. I'm going to close this one out by saying, keep collecting comics, keep watching the videos, and until the next one, bye now.